Hello and welcome to the 58th episode of Growing Up Geek, the weekly podcast for geek entertainment and nostalgia. My name is Brad, and I am joined by a man who can play Thunderstruck in its entirety on the guitar, my brother Rob.
Balls. Yeah, not really. I mean, I can play a lot of the fun parts, but then I just kind of
Okay.
I kind of phase out towards the solo in the middle.
Yeah, excuse me, perhaps I overspoke, sir.
Shook Me All Night Long, I can play.
Yeah.
Solo and
One of
all.
those ones with the guy that holds his hat on.
Exactly. He has to hold the hat on to keep his rock spirit from exiting his body.
Right, it seems like the hat is blowing off of his head while he holds it. We got the right, we're here. Anyway.
Exactly. I started off today's episode by saying balls because I just want to point out that I'm drinking Balls Guarana energy drink.
Yeah, that does need explanation.
Yeah.
I will give you that opportunity.
We sell it at where I work, and
How is it?
it's good. I'm drinking the cherry. And sorry, this isn't an ad or anything. I'm just letting you know because it's what I'm doing. It's keeping the energy up.
Yeah.
You know, geeks are familiar with it. They've seen it. It's spelled BAWLS.
Right.
And it's always at the front of computer stores and stuff, but it's always like in a crate. And it's warm, and it's sitting
Yeah.
in the corner.
Right.
One of the cool things about where I work, like we actually put in like a request to get like a cooler to keep it all in. I'm trying it out now, and I gotta say, like Guarana is not so bad. You know, like
Right.
this whole tisk thing.
What is...
I guess it's like a bean for energy stuff. It has tons of caffeine in it in a small little package.
Yeah.
And so I guess this is an energy drink, but it tastes just like soda. So
yeah.
all right, yeah, it's good. All right,
Well,
so
that's
enough
good.
of that. We're not paying any bills.
All right, so hopefully the effects
Yeah.
of that will be felt.
Well, you can say whatever you want because we're not advertising it. Like, that's the thing. We could say it's terrible, you know?
Well, that's the best part about podcasts. If it's terrible, you can say it.
Yeah, if you have balls, keep them cold.
Bingo. And with that, we will move on to our Geek News segment. Every week we like to read a lot of geeky news, and we like to bring you our favorite story. So I will open that up to you, Rob. What was your favorite geek news story this week?
Oh, darn it. In all my preparation for the episode, I actually forgot to find a news story.
So I guess they don't have a drink that helps you prepare for the show.
No, if only they did.
All right, well, folks, we'll be right back.
Oh, we're back.
We're back. Thank you for that brief interlude. And what'd you find?
Well, interesting things coming out of the worlds of MTV, billboards. At the end of last year, 2008,
Yeah.
Rock Band succeeded in reaching the 500 song mark when it released the No Doubt pack. So there are over 500 songs total available for Rock Band. Now, Billboard and MTV are talking that by the end of 2009, there may be indeed 5,000 songs available
Okay.
for download for Rock Band 2.
So does that mean they're going to ramp up production of how many songs? Or
That seems like it, or at least I would imagine there'd probably be a pretty, like, another overhaul like we had whenever the music store came out for the first time.
Right.
And probably as more companies become susceptible to the marketability of putting their songs on Rock Band or on Guitar Hero, it's
Right.
easier to get them and to sell them. And Billboard said it would require looseness in terms of like the genres that they'll be putting on Rock Band.
Yeah.
You might see more jazz, you might see more country, you
Sure.
know. But if you have that option amongst 5,000 songs, why not, you know?
Yeah. So I guess this is probably as good a time as any to have, just our dream list.
Yeah.
What would be some things you would hope? I mean, I've been disappointed lately I haven't bought a song in a while. What would be some bands that are lacking in your opinion?
Anything by Muse, of course. Guitar Hero seemed to get a foothold on that, and I really, especially if they could get the Absolution album,
Right.
things from Radiohead. I sometimes will listen to that stuff and just say, man, it'd be really fun to play this.
Yeah. I've found that a lot of songs that I hated on the radio, such as Are You Gonna Be My Girl, end up being my absolute favorite to play in the game.
There's a Static X song on there, Push It, that
Yeah.
I downloaded, and I
You
just
push it, dude.
I get so much fun out of just playing that, even though it's like the same repetitive riff over and over again, because everybody's just shouting, yeah! You know?
Exactly. I would, of course, kill for some more Interpol. I was very sorely disappointed to see Obstacle 1 on Guitar Hero World Tour. If I could have a full album like Antics on Rock Band, that would be great. Anything by Placebo, I would appreciate.
Oh, yeah. There's no Led Zeppelin.
I'd like to see some Death Cab.
absolutely. Postal Service, even like I don't know. Well, that would be a stretch for execution.
Well, no,
right?
if you can do Jagged Gorgeous Winter, you can do Postal Service
Right.
because that's very similar. They just turn
Um,
the guitars into like keyboards or whatever.
I've always had a thing for playing like U2 songs. Like I like playing those
Yeah.
on my real guitar.
Yeah. So, is there any further information on this news story, or is it just basically like a speculation?
Well, basically, it's like internal rumors or internal speculation. Harmonix said, yeah, we could easily increase it tenfold. Billboard was like, yeah, we could do that if ... happens. We may be looking at Rock Band becoming essentially a music store.
They're just gonna milk it as long as they can. It's something that every game developer dreams of. Like to have a World of Warcraft situation where people pay you every month. I mean, that's
Right.
that's what they dream about. So. Yeah, not a bad news story for pulling it out of your butt at the last second. So,
Thank you. Time to pass it over to you, Brad. I'm curious to hear, what is your news story of the week?
my favorite news story of the week: ABC orders V pilot.
V Pilot.
That doesn't sound right. A pilot of the V series,
Ho.
as in the 1980 miniseries V, which was about an alien invasion. And I have no confidence that this will be good, but it gives me a chance to dredge up some memories about the original series.
Yep.
I have a couple like things burned into my mind. One is that they would pull their skin off, and that was freaky, and you'd see a lizard face underneath.
Yep.
They come in peace, and then of course that ends up not being the case.
Yep.
But they also eat like gerbils or mice. And there's one scene where a person was crawling through at like a duct,
Yeah.
and they looked down and saw a woman like unhinge her jaw and like stretch the jaw out and put a gerbil in. And I also have this memory of like Robert Englund, who's the guy that played Freddy Krueger,
Uh-huh.
getting his hand frozen by some sort of like I
Oh
don't
my
know,
goodness.
liquid nitrogen, and then
Yeah.
like smashing it off and thinking, oh, I should never mess with liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
I remember watching it like that could happen and your hand would be gone,
Right.
But do you remember that show? I mean, do you remember those
Absolutely.
scenes?
I mean, I even remember them like taking whenever they're like removing their skin, like taking the eyes out, like the whites of the eyes.
Oh yeah, sick.
And setting those down. They came in peace. Everybody was excited because they were humans, or they looked like humans.
Yeah.
But then they turned out to be lizard men.
And they had like this like Michael Jackson looking red leather on.
Yeah.
It spooked me as a kid, and I remember there was a guy on our bus. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a guy on our bus who was like the guy that sat in the back that read like Fangoria magazine,
Uh-huh.
and he had a poster of like the one girl from V with like her skin partially torn off, and he was like, "Hey, you want to see this?" And I was like, "No, I really don't." And he's like, "Come on, man, just take a peek, it'll be cool." And I was like, "No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it." Like I remember, like I'm sure looking very cool
Very cool.
in front of everybody. Yeah,
In your MC Hammer pants.
that kid, we made friends with him on the back of the bus. That doesn't sound good.
It's never a good idea to make friends with kids on the back of the bus.
But no, I mean, it was a miniseries, and they're apparently going to order a pilot. So ABC is going to attempt this. It's going to be written by the 4400 creator.
It's not a bad group there.
It will send. Now this is the weird part. It will, like I said, I have no confidence this will be good. I'm not hyping this up. But it will have a female Homeland Security agent.
Uh-huh.
I guess who will be the lead or the. So what we'll have to see. Don't hold your breath for that. But if you've never heard of it, that's what V was. And what else can I add to that? I don't know.
You can add that I don't anticipate much greatness out of it either.
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? I mean, I guess like they can ride the Lost train, or
Is it Lost? I don't know what it is that's causing this.
well, yeah, these supernatural things. But you know what I'm kind of thirsty for?
What's that?
I would really love to see a zombie series on TV. I mean, just reading
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead just perked my interest, and
So
I
good.
saw some reruns of Jericho, and I was like, what if this was a zombie holocaust? Like,
Yeah.
just really just because it is something you could do from week to week. And it doesn't have to be like, blah, like the
Right.
zombie movies, but it would be a different approach.
Yeah, that's what makes Walking Dead so great is that, he doesn't stop.
This is all going to be about who's an alien, who's wearing skin of an alien, and who's
Yeah,
not.
like sort of like who's the Cylon
did
kind
they
of
eat
thing.
a gerbil? Exactly, very much. Who's the Cylon?
But Walking Dead is great. It would be great to see them make that. And real quick, I was sorely Never mind. I was going to mention my thoughts on Lost, but you haven't seen all of Lost, so I won't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It had its premiere. I won't spoil
I failed.
Epic fail. No. I'll just say that Lost is, in my opinion, definitely lost. Like, they don't know where the heck that show's going. So anyway, let's move on to our main topic of discussion now, which is our most anticipated games of 2009. And full disclosure up front, there is a game that did not make our list, but a lot of people are probably interested in it, and that is Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
And that demo just went up, so I've actually had a chance to play some of the demo. It's a 2-level demo, so I actually got to play quite a bit of it, cooperative. And you haven't played it, but you had a question about Resident Evil 5.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, as I look at it, I'm excited about it, but the reason why I can't yet put it on my list, when we're doing top 3, so granted, it's up there still. It's like top 5 at least. But, like, I was a huge fan of Resident Evil 4, but I was a fan of it on the Wii.
Right.
Because the controls were perfect.
Yeah.
Like, the aiming, the shooting, the knifing, it lent itself so well to the Wii. My question to you, playing the Resident Evil 5 demo, did you notice, like, is it still kind of an obstacle to manipulate the controls?
Yeah, dude, it's so funny that you brought that up because the controls were a big hurdle for me. The bottom line is you can't move and shoot at the same time.
Right.
Plain and simple. You know, third-person shooters nowadays, you can run backwards while you're firing. And in Resident Evil, if you have a zombie bearing down on you, you stand perfectly still while firing.
Right.
And then if you want to run away, you have to turn. And there's a quick turn, but even that's not as quick as I would like it to be. And then kind of run and then turn back, you know, plant your feet and then fire again. And in the middle of some of these situations where you're getting raped by zombies, it's a little difficult to get the hang of. So I admit that is the biggest question mark for what could blow Resident Evil 5 for me is the game looks incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fantastic looking. You have to play the demo.
Okay.
It's possibly the best thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
Like, the best graphics.
Okay.
That's really too much hype.
Yeah.
But, they photograph textures or something in, like, African wastelands because it is just all there.
All right,
but,
nice.
yeah, those controls are iffy. So anyway, that's Resident Evil 5. We'll have to see how that turns out. I echo your worry in terms of that. I think it's going to be a big obstacle for a lot of people.
I know.
Anyway, let's get right to it.
Right.
What is your number 3 most anticipated game of 2009? Go.
Okay, number 3 most anticipated game, and perhaps number 3 just because is it coming out in 2009? We're still not kind of sure, but
the Huxley choice.
yeah, it's very much mirrors my Huxley choice from last year because Huxley's not out yet. This is also an MMO. This is Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Ah, yes.
We've mentioned it on the show before, but if you don't remember, basically Knights of the Old Republic were these 2 single-player RPGs that were amazing, that were by BioShock, not BioShock, BioWare.
BioShock made a game. Now that's awesome.
BioShock is such an amazing game that it made other games that were amazing.
Yeah, instant number 1.
Yeah, BioWare made these RPGs that just every Star Wars fan loves, and many of them are like, these are better prequels than the prequels, because they take place way, a long time ago in a same galaxy far away, though. And
same distance, just longer ago.
Exactly. A few things that pique my interest. A is that, like, Jedis and Sith are in large quantities, and so people will be satisfied to be able to play as a lightsaber-wielding character either way.
Right.
B, that moral choices, which were a big part of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, are still intact in this MMO.
Right.
Even though it's an online game, the world is going to be affected by the overall moral choices that the players make.
Right,
and
exactly.
because there's no, like, save system per se, whatever choice you make sticks, you know?
Right. It sounds impressive, man. I have echoes of Star Wars Galaxies still leaving a bad taste in my mouth if I can combine analogies.
This is looking so much better. And lastly, the third thing that they're bringing over from the single-player games, which is really cool, is non-player character companion characters that are going to be by your side talking to you, providing story and dialogue.
Right.
And then on top of that, like reacting to your choices. This sounds like the type of thing I definitely want when I'm playing an MMO.
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes out in 2009 and is every bit as good as the previous 2 games.
Yeah, we will see. I have no time for MMOs anymore, but I will gladly listen to your stories of gallivanting around in that universe if it's good.
Right.
I'm hoping.
Right.
But there are endless flourishes that I cannot get out of my head. So we will see. Now, I'm going to actually mirror your choice a little bit and also make a Huxley choice. We'll just call it the Huxley choice. This is another game that...
This year's Huxley choice.
This year's Huxley choice is a game that had its trailer in October. It is rumored to be coming out this year, but it has been rumored for a while. When that happens, people start to say it's vaporware. This trailer ends with a woman saying, "Alan, wake up." And I'm talking, of course, about Alan Wake. What does this game have going for it? Basically, this is the people that made Max Payne. Remedy. It's an adventure-type game, more exploration. It's labeled as a thriller. In this sort of sleepy little town. Watch the trailer. Very beautiful graphics. That hooks me right away. I'm a big graphics fan. Supposedly there's going to be a focus on driving. It's like an open-world type thing, but it's like this tiny town. The only thing that could kill it is that it may never come out, It looks like it has a story. Like when I watch the trailer, I try to figure out, okay, how much is really done here? There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of story moments shown in the trailer. There's a lot of flashlight waving. So it's hard to tell is it really, like, is there enough assets made or is it just like a trailer? I'm looking forward to it. And God, I could really use an adventure game, with focus on exploration. That is speaking my language. So here's hoping it's not a Huxley. Sorry, Huxley, if you're listening. Aldous Huxley. But I'm anticipating Alan Wake. It's a gamble, but 2009, that's my number 3. What is your number 2?
All right. Well, my number 2 is kind of a long shot as well, but I'm excited about this. Ghostbusters, the video game.
Yes.
Yes,
well,
I know.
For the underdog, I guess, because some of these things are like, when will they come out? We don't know. But no, that's fairly complete. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I gotta admit, I'm also sort of raising awareness with some of these choices. But
all right.
But looking at this is not a shoddy game at all. I mean,
no,
we're talking graphics and gameplay very similar to what Gears of War had to offer, except with that sort of Ghostbusters twist of like capturing a ghost. Right. And then sucking it into the thing. And what always gets me most excited when I'm checking out the previews of this game is that it is, in the conscious minds of the developers, the next Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, I have heard about that.
We're saying Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray are writing and lending their voice talents to this project. Dan Aykroyd is actually a pretty notorious conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, he's into this stuff, like ectoplasm and all that. That's like his brainchild.
I mean, you were talking about Bill Murray, last week, but just
sure,
he's not a shabby guy, and just to have him in any game, if it was like, well, Bill Murray's lending his comedic talents to it,
right?
I'd be like, yeah, hook me up.
Yeah, well, he doesn't do anything with video games. I mean, this has to be a first for him, unless he did like Garfield the Game, the movie, or whatever it was.
Right. Well, yeah.
Like, oh God, the game, the movie would be terrible. I meant the movie.
Now you've just shot my anticipation. I'm just like, nah, never mind.
No, I'm sorry. Well, he did that as a tribute to the guy that did it. We've talked about that before,
right.
But
exactly.
Anyway, yeah, man, it's looking sweet. And the only question I have is like they show the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and stuff. So is it like gonna retread the previous movies plus a new story, or is it like a new story with some reoccurring characters? I can't figure it out.
There's probably gonna be some sort of like reoccurrence of Golder or whatever its name was.
Wasn't there a Gozer in there at some point?
Gozer. That's
I just love the word Gozer.
That's what people want to do. That's like the Hoth battle for Star Wars. People want to fight Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, I think I always say it's State Puff, but it's Stay Puffed.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a good one. Definitely.
Your number 2, Brad?
My number 2 is Bionic Commando. I'll just say it straight out. What does this game have going for it? Let's see. You can grab cars and boulders with your mechanical arm. Yes. Check. Can swing on anything with your arm. And actually, watch gameplay footage of this game. While you're flying through the air, you're firing your gun at other things. So they actually showed a fight like with a midair boss where this boss is flying around and you're like launching off of rocks and cliffs and stuff, and you're shooting all the while you're like launching over it and stuff. The only thing that could kill it for me is this game all depends on how it feels, you know?
Right.
Too bad that I haven't been able to actually try it yet, because it would probably rule this out one way or another real quick. But, if it feels as good as it looks, this game's going to be awesome. But if it's clunky and it's kind of like, the swinging isn't quite, like it should be, then it's going to kill the whole thing. But Capcom, this is really their year. We mentioned Resident Evil. I have to quickly say that my number one game from last year was Street Fighter 4. That is a 2009 game. It actually got delayed, so I'm not going to re-mention that. But Street Fighter 4 is, of course, a highly anticipated game. And then Bionic Commando. I mean, Capcom is really just nailing it seems like, in terms of developing. So here's hoping. Bionic Commando, that's my number 2.
Okay.
Now it's time for your number 1.
My number 1 most anticipated game of 2009, and chances of this coming out in 2009, these guys, they take their time. Final Fantasy 13.
Ooh, I'm going to go ahead and break your back already.
Yeah?
It got delayed till 2010. Sorry,
but...
You know what?
Well.
It's coming out in 2009 in Japan for the PlayStation 3, so it counts.
All right, it counts. You can import it.
There you go.
Right?
You can import this game if you have a PS3.
I mean, otherwise I'm falling back on Mario and Luigi RPG 3.
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, no.
All right, so go ahead, but geek out about it. Final Fantasy is never bad.
Final Fantasy is never bad. I mean, honestly, except for maybe Final Fantasy 11, which is their MMO attempt.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy has always had a special place in our hearts since 7.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
And what blows me away, game after game, and especially after playing 12, is how for such a sacred kind of video game property,
right,
they really are interested in reinventing the game each and every time they come out with it.
Right.
And so the thing that could make this game is reinventing RPGs,
Right.
Just watching the trailer, you go, oh my gosh, how is this possible? What am I witnessing? I want to play this just to understand how it's played.
I'll tell you what's really impressive is these Japanese game trailers like Metal Gear and Final Fantasy that get dragged around for years, and they still look better than everything else when they come out. That is some serious skill.
It's amazing attention to detail,
yeah.
and Final Fantasy always sets the bar very high. What's amazing about this game is that there's already plans for another side game and then like other games, but that are all going to sort of tell part of this story so that it's a joint effort. They're not just tagging it on like sort of FF10-2 or X2.
No.
Was sort of tagged on,
and it's coming out on the 360. That's crazy. We talked about that
before. And it's coming out on the 360, which is a huge coup.
Yeah, to
have a Final Fantasy game released on an American platform.
And it's the same with Resident Evil. I mean, it's never been on a Microsoft. Microsoft has done a bang-up job securing all of these once exclusives. I mean, GTA, for heaven's sakes.
But obviously, what could kill this game is the hesitance of playing RPGs anymore.
Right.
We
talked about that. Yeah.
It's a huge commitment. It's like, is it going to be fun, or do I have to grind, Cactus Man battles?
Right. I think we'd both say that 7 was probably our favorite role-playing game pretty much ever. But if I think back to that, there was a lot of stuff that I did in order to beat, Sephiroth at the end. I just beat away at, like, these cactus people in the middle of the desert, and stuff, to earn summons.
Strategy guides were consulted.
Yeah, to unlock Knights of the Round, to be able to mimic it using Barrett, to be able to beat him. I've talked about that before. My current attention level is a lot smaller in terms of games, just because my time is so much more provisioned. But gosh, I'm so curious. If there's one that would get me to come back to at least put my toe in the water, it would be FF13 for sure.
Yeah, in early 2010.
We will see.
So that leaves us with the final big question. Brad, what is your number one most anticipated game of 2009?
This may come as a shock or not. I don't know. It doesn't have a whole lot of information right now, but it is looking amazing. I know you agree.
Guitar Hero Metallica.
Oh, you ruined it.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. No, Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
What does this game have going for it? It's got gameplay is sort of half detective work as Batman, like CSI type stuff, maybe like in Condemned, and then half of it is combat, with like simplistic combat attacks that you can do, but you can chain them together. It looks awesome, as we've discussed before, and most of all, it is being written by Paul Dini. Batman is voiced by Kevin Conroy, and the Joker is voiced by Mark Hamill. So, I mean, we already know that part of it will be great. So it's like I can bank on this game fairly safely in terms of the story and the voice. And what could kill it, obviously, is an unproven developer. They only have like one game to their credit. The combat also sounds very simplistic, like I said before, and it could be repetitive, maybe. It depends. We haven't seen it in action. There's just 1,000 awesome screenshots of Batman looking amazing, punching dudes who also look amazing in the face, So if someone were to say, you can play one of these games right now, I would reach for Batman Arkham Asylum because I'm so anxious to see this. But anyway, that actually wraps it up. And real quick, you had your 3 least anticipated games, and I'm going to give you an opportunity. Just fly through them real quick if you would.
Well, Guitar Hero Metallica, obviously, I threw that out there because I really don't care at all about it.
What else?
Sims 3.
Indeed.
Will Wright, great guy, but seriously, you don't really care.
Exactly.
Anymore.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have to work up enthusiasm on why you don't care.
And lastly, I forgot.
That's probably perfect, is that your number one is something you forget.
Exactly. Maybe it was like Skate 2.
I don't know. Or, I'm sure there'll be a new Madden or something.
Madden 09 is definitely my least anticipated game of 2009.
Yeah, the sequels always get props. That's obvious. Yeah. I'm interested in more of the new properties. Like Alan Wake is just like, if that's great, that could be really cool. So anyway, that was it for our main topic this week. And before we close out the show, we always like to get a little nostalgic and reminisce about what it was like to grow up geek. This week, I want to real quickly mention that, not our favorite store, but certainly a store that we have had some memories at, Circuit City, is closing. I don't know if you know this, but they are going out of business.
I'm very aware.
A little bit saddened by this because I have some good memories of Circuit City, and the one I want to share is when I camped the line for the PS2 with Matt. Do you have any Circuit City memories?
Divx.
not a great memory, perhaps, but yeah.
Well, I think that was just kind of like the bad foot that they started on that just kind of, for me, was like, all right, this is why they are where they are,
Right. It was a competing format to DVD where you could, like, buy the movie for cheap and then it was almost like renting it, but then you could keep it. I'm not explaining it very well, but anyway, yeah, Divx was a dark spot.
If anything, I used to go there to pick up a lot of my HD DVD movies. Once again, sort of along the same lines as the Divx.
Right.
Just a dead format now.
Dead formats is pretty much what you remember.
Exactly. I remember Circuit City for its dead formats.
So it's fitting that the store is now dead.
Yeah. The interesting story I hear, though, now is that basically customer service doesn't matter. Right now, the employees who are working there can tell the customers anything they want.
That's awesome.
I know. Start saving security footage or get a camera and just film people talking to the people.
No, that's beautiful.
Complaining about their machine and just get it right.
Yeah, I had friends that worked there, and they constantly talked about how you'd have to say the company line. Even the Divx thing. It was like drinking the Kool-Aid. So it'd be like, it says Sanyo. Is that a good brand? Oh yeah. That's just Sony with the letters rearranged. Stuff like that. It would be great to it'd be great to see them now just shooting straight. Like, look, lady, you don't want this TV. It's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But I real quickly, I camped the line for PS2. We actually had the idea fairly late at night. We were like, oh my god, the PS2's coming out, and so we went to the grocery store. We bought Arizona iced tea bottles, which were for drinking and refilling, if you catch my meaning.
I think I do.
We bought sunflower seeds because Matt chewed those like a mother, and then we drove to Best Buy, and there was a massive line, so we were like all disheartened. Went to Circuit City. There's like 3 people there, and there's even a sign on the door that says we have the PS2. So everybody was real respectful, really cool line. they came out and gave us warning that there was only 10 systems to line up single file according to who was there first, which everybody knew because they were keeping track. And they handed out vouchers that we could come back at 10 in the morning when the store opened and get our system. And they went down the line, boom, 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 and we watched as like a boyfriend and girlfriend each took one. There was like a oh from like the back of the line, you know. And they finally moved up to me and Matt, and we just got one, and we were like number 7 of 10. And I still have the voucher, but yeah, we spent the night there hanging out with people. We even filmed it, but there was a guy that urinated in the parking lot. He just opened his truck door, and we just saw the stream hit the parking lot. You know, it was like, you know, guerrilla tactics or whatever. I don't know. But it really kind of put us together, like different walks of life. There was like a gang member, there was like a computer nerd, and we all came back at 10 in the morning like the Breakfast Club or something. But anyway, that's my memory of Circuit City. So Circuit City, we knew you well. I don't know. You're a dead format now, unfortunately. So if you grew up geek like us and you have a topic that you think we should discuss, hit up our website at www.growing-up-geek.com. Leave us a comment or an email. We'd love to hear from you. And, hey, that's going to wrap it up for our show this week. Once again, I am Brad.
I got nothing. I am the unknown terrible game coming out 2009.
And we'll see you next week.